Now, obviously, the title of this video is a bit satire and a bit sarcastic, but at the same time, it's a bit truthful, just like any joke. And so, with that being said, anybody that's aware of the state of the average man nowadays in the Western society, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with average men, okay? We need average men. And I'm very grateful for men out there that are doing what most people don't want to be doing all the time, right? I'm very grateful for hardworking men that are doing what they need to do to keep the infrastructure that we have sustainable and going. And I'm also very grateful for women that are kind, compassionate, nurturing, warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic. And just with that being said, anybody that's done psychedelics understands that when you're taking a psychedelic, it almost enhances the feelings and emotions that you have, right? It just makes you very in the moment, and you're forced to confront everything that you're feeling in that moment. Women in some way are like psychedelics for men because of this. Men just are drawn toward the mysteriousness and mystique of women, when in reality, women are actually not that mysterious, okay? They might do things that we don't understand, and that's okay, because a lot of the times you're not going to understand it. But it's always going to be a trip, man. Like, yeah, nearly every time you talk to a woman nowadays, it's a trip. And it's not always the best kind of trip, right? It's like one of those trips, you know, those mushrooms with like the red mushrooms with the white spots on it that are like, apparently if you take those are like some dark psychedelics. You get a dark experience. That's what most women are like nowadays. They're not like, you know, the good LSD or the good psilocybin mushrooms. Like, they are not like that at all. They're not benevolent, okay? So a lot of these men, they think that they're getting an experience with a woman that is just not the case. And so it's kind of a funny paraphrasing and kind of a funny metaphor, but at the same time, it's a bit truthful. And I was inspired to do this based off of somebody that said something about this topic on X. He said that women were like psychedelics for him, and he was just drawn to the darkness. He was just drawn to their darkness because he had that desire to understand them. And you know, a lot of men want to understand women, and a lot of women want to understand men. Perhaps even men are like psychedelics to women. But one thing's for sure is men will be tripping over women, and not just with their emotions, but they will be tricking as well. They'll be tricking and tripping. Tricking and tripping men. Oh man. Oh, the comments are gonna be funny on this one. So what exactly do I mean by this, and where am I going? Because there is somewhere I'm going with this. It's like, think about how normalized it is for men to date single moms, for example, nowadays. Now, if you're a single mom watching this, I'm not trying to hate on you, you know. I understand that we're all just trying to get through this life, okay? But I advocate for all men, because I have yet to see one instance where going to a single mother or dating a single mother long term is beneficial for the man. And you've got all of these men on TikTok and Instagram or whatever saying that, you know, if you're her consistency, she'll be your everything, man. You just have to be her consistency first because she's not used to it. Bro, do you understand that she already made her decisions? Okay, she made her decisions. You don't necessarily have to pick up the slack and step up to be the man that saves a woman. Now, I'm not gonna dog any man that does that. If you want to do that, if you want to put somebody else as your mental focal point of origin, you go ahead. If you want to be frivolous and superfluous to your own nature, you go ahead, brother. I'm not going to do that though, okay? And I'm not going to advise the men that I'm training and hoping to be like godlike savages to do something like that. No, these women made their decision. They need to live with it. That's the way that I see it. Again, I'm not hating on these single moms, but it is weird how normalized it seems to become with all this stuff. And then we've got the normalization of tricking. Like, literally, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard out and about now that women are literally being paid just to talk to men. Like, oh, well, first, if you want to talk to me, here's my Cash App. I've heard that on like from people that are doing dating apps. Women won't even talk to them on dating apps unless they drop them $20. And what's crazy is the men are actually doing this. Like, y'all men are tripping, okay? Y'all men are tripping doing that kind of stuff. That's insane. Even in my greatest simp days, when I was the simp knight of my community, I even knew that doing too much just was wrong on some level. It just felt wrong. And I didn't commit to it, and I didn't follow through with it. Then on the other side, after that, now we've got, like at the gym, for example, I've heard, this was months ago, but I heard this woman, she was telling this other guy that this guy that she met on a dating app offered her $180 to $220 or whatever, just to talk to her for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what she was balling. So, and she was like tattoo filled, a woman. She, you know, she literally had like a neck tattoo, man, like a neck tattoo. You want to talk to a woman like that? You want to pay a woman to talk to, like, you're tripping, man. You're tripping. There's no way that you're gonna be doing that and thinking, oh well, yeah, she's gonna care for me, or like, you know what, like, at least here's the thing, right? At least if you're like paying some kind of prostitute or whatever, at least you're trying to get something out of it, right? And I'm not advocating for that kind of behavior in any way, shape, or form, by the way. I follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments, and I encourage other people to follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments. But I understand that we live in a fallen world filled with sick psychopaths, and there's not much that we can do about it except for to just talk against it and to just say what's going on and be real about what's going on. So, yeah, man, like, these people are tripping. These people are absolutely tripping. I do not understand. And it's no wonder where all of these women get their entitlement from. It's because men are willing to put up with this kind of stuff. And so what I think we need to do as men is, if we really want to like see a better world and relationships and all that, number one, we've got to stop being promiscuous ourselves, okay? And I know that that's not necessarily going to be a popular opinion amongst the men, because you hear even a lot of women. I heard the other day, a woman at the gym was telling a younger woman, you know, get yours now, be with the wrong ones now, so that way when the right one comes along, you know, that's when it will be. But I think verbatim she said, have your fun with the wrong ones now, and then the right one will come along, something like that. That was literally a older woman giving a younger woman advice. So you have now, and I'm willing to bet my bank account that woman is either a single mom or she's single, because she was well into her 40s at least. And if she's giving that kind of advice to a younger female, it's like, I know exactly the kind of woman like that will give that kind of advice. Because the good women, the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women, they're not going to give that kind of advice. They're just not. Because they actually want to see families prosper. They're not going to try to just use the men and wait for the right one. So crazy, man. It's so crazy. And it affects women so much more, which is another reason why I think women are like psychedelics, is because they themselves don't understand themselves. I've had women tell me that they don't understand why they're attracted to me, because they don't I'm not their type, but yet I'm attractive to them. And it's like they're fighting against their own biology because they're feminists. Some of them were feminists. They're like, ugh, you're so irritating. sorry my sorry my existence is bothering you, right? Like that's something I saw recently in a comment. It's like, sorry my existence is bothering you. Oh man. But yeah, it's kind of what it felt like. I was like, okay, like I'm not doing anything. I don't even know who you are. See, you're so attractive, and I don't understand why. Oh, okay. Well, it's because I have presence. It's because I have spiritual awareness, and it's because I am self-aware, and I am making decisions that are going to ensure winning and prosperity over hope and fear. I'm not necessarily going to make decisions that are just, ooh, you know, it's not like that. And a lot of the times, these men out here will make decisions based off of impulse, and it's really disgusting to watch. And that's one of the reasons why I advocate for us men to not be participating in promiscuous behavior, is because women will follow us. They will. And it's because I know this because I've seen it, and it's only because the men that don't have those kinds of standards and boundaries for themselves, they don't have sexual discipline. They're just willing to, you know, whatever gives them attention, like, yeah, let's go for it. And don't get me wrong, like it's how do I say this? The temptations are real. Okay, when you get to a certain point as a man, when you've developed yourself inwardly enough, because inward value is always going to be more important than external value, because it's what is inside that can create your reality, right? There's a quote that says something like, if you cannot prophesize your reality, then you must create it, something like that. And that's exactly what you do, and that's part of what makes psychedelics so potent, is because you're given a proper state of mind. And again, I'm not advocating for this kind of stuff. I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying that anybody that's taken it understands this, and for those that don't know what it's about, well, here's what it's about. So really, what happens is you're just in a state of high creativity. You're able to draw inspiration from anywhere and anything, really. And women can be like that sometimes. Like, a beauty of a woman can be very inspiring to a man. Men can fall in love with beauty, okay? They don't even have to know the inside. I think that's where the term love at first sight came from, to be honest. I don't know if, I think love at first sight happens for sure. I think it happens all the time. But I don't necessarily think that, like, love is a choice. Love is a choice. And I think love is a choice, and I don't necessarily think that love can be sustainable if you're not consistently choosing it. That's one of the reasons why enlightened individuals are described as being love. It's because they've just completely surrendered into the will of God. They've completely surrendered into the universe and the universal path for them, which is in the Most High's will. They are operating as an instrument of the Most High. So when men see the potency of this kind of woman, they'll be willing to do anything. I mean, a man will do almost anything to protect and provide for a woman. That is, if she shows her loyalty, if she demonstrates her consistency on her end, if she's actually willing to be cooperative and not trying to degrade your masculinity. Man, there's nothing more frustrating to me than a woman trying to dictate how I ought to live my life, or thinking that she knows more than me. It's like, I guarantee you, I've seen things that would turn your blood cold, okay? I guarantee you. Don't sit here trying to tell me how to live my life, because guess what? I know exactly what the worst of the worst has been. You think I got here by being just naively carefree and open and compassionate? No. I had to see the worst of the worst so that I could become that kind of person, okay? So kindness really is taken advantage of by a lot of people, and especially women nowadays. It's like, I'm not saying be rude to women, but I'm very selective with who I'm kind to as women, as a man to women. And the reason being is because if I'm being kind to you, here's what I've noticed. Women want a man that is generally not necessarily nice to other people, but is nice to her. It's not that he's rude, it's just that he's more nice to her, that individual woman, than anybody else, because she sees, oh, I can get all of this guy's attention because he's not giving anybody else attention like that. So for women, it's like they just want the feeling of the man that doesn't give attention to other people to her. That's all it is. That's all it is. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, that's just the way it is. And so decreasing the promiscuity for men, that would be the first thing. The second thing would be to be war ready as men. You know, no more lovey-dovey romantic whatever. As soon as you begin to realize that romance is all in your head, that love is actually just a choice, it's not a feeling, you'll be a lot more relieved in the long run, okay? Number 3, after you're war ready and you are less promiscuous, you are intellectually competent, so you're training your mind, and finally you have that connection and that personal relationship to the Most High God. Once you get this, you'll begin to understand why women really are like psychedelics, because they are this space of infinity as far as the cosmic level and conscious level, that men are more like the stable rock mountain type. A man is supposed to be the solid mountain that a woman's emotions and waves can just slam into, and nothing actually happens to the mountain, right? And that's the kind of man that women want, is somebody that can handle pressure, that is competent under pressure, that is calm, cool, and collected under pressure. You know, there's a song that's called like a Classic Man, I think is the name of the song, and it's like, I'm a classic man, and the lyrics go something like, I can pull the wool while I'm being polite, and even under fire I'm cool, something like that. It's describing a classic man for sure. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was useful and insightful and entertaining in some way. And with that said, peace be with you. Till next time.